Voyage.
I'm Akshay Nanavati. Join me on the journey to the razor's edge to discover what it really means to be human. Fearvana. I never expected this to happen, but after 9 years, my marriage ended. I know you're thinking that my wife left me because of my risk-taking, adventurous Fearvana lifestyle, but that's not how it went down. In fact, Maya was very supportive of that. But she was on her own spiritual journey and seeking a very different spiritual path. So with love in our hearts, we parted ways. At the time, however, this was deeply traumatic. After coming back from the war, I found my peace and my healing through writing the book Fearvana. But now, I was broken again. After the divorce, I broke my sobriety, and I broke it hard. I still remember downing a full bottle of vodka a day. I'd be puking in the toilet, and as soon as I stopped puking, I would pick up the bottle to drink again. And I couldn't stop for days on end. And I didn't like that version of myself. So I knew something was still missing, and I needed to go deeper within to find some answers. So I began researching the concept of a vipassana, which is a Buddhist term for a silent retreat. These are these 10-day silent retreats they hold all over the world. As I was researching it, I stumbled into the idea of a darkness retreat. In a darkness retreat, you are spending anywhere from 7 to 10 days, even longer if you so choose, in complete darkness where you cannot see your hand in front of you. It's far more intense than a vipassana, and I was immediately drawn to that, because by shutting off the visual sense, I would have nowhere external to go, and I'd be forced to go within.
God, it's fucking dark in here. Oh, what did I expect? Still, it's hard to imagine until you're in it. 7 days in the pitch black. Will I go nuts in here? Not if I stay focused on the mission. That's what I'd always tell myself when I was in Iraq on patrol. The mission. Above all else, the mission is... I don't know. I don't exactly know what I'm doing here. I just know that I need to do this. It doesn't take me long to acclimate to the darkness. I still can't see in front of my nose, but my mind is kicked into gear. I'm writing my thoughts down in a notebook as best I can. Full presence. Become one with your world. That is how you will better it. That means more pain, but also more pleasure. Unite with the darkness and the light. That is how you transcend them. Self-transcendence is not the removal of the self, but the unification of the self with all that is. Feel the pain of the world so you help alleviate it. Feel the pleasure of the world so you can help enhance it. But to do either, you must explore both. You cannot know the magic of the light show without going into the dark. Light and dark are both one and the same. Access points to the divine. Even in the dark, I'm not alone. I'm a part of this system now. I coexist with the dark. We're never truly alone, and it took being truly alone to see that. It's all a paradox. Only when there is nothing to see here in the dark can you truly see into the depth of your soul. In darkness, there is clarity and light. In solitude, there is connection. What ultimately matters is you can create this at will. 2 days in. Things are about to get real. The real transformation hasn't happened yet. Now I have to find what's waiting on the other side. This is the defining moment. Happens in every area of life. What I do here will shape my destiny. We mostly go through life wanting everything that is on the other side of this moment. We don't want to face this moment, but the transformation lies in this moment. What happens on the other side is just icing on the cake. Do I control the moment or surrender to it? There is so much pain in the world. I'm here to bring light where there is dark, to bring meaning and purpose where there is pain. That is the sole reason I am alive. Never forget that. Never forget people are in pain, and it is on me to do something about that. I do not wear this as a cross to bear, for it would only break me. I hold on to this responsibility with a smile. It is a blessing that I get to do this work. Day 4 now. The room is turning red, like a burning red bush. I was told that if I can let go, this might happen, but how? Am I losing my mind? Or finding it? Now the room is a brilliant blue, like the sky on a perfect summer day, but it is all around me like I've been shot into the atmosphere. The darkness taught me to transcend reason. Real is whatever I choose it to be. That's faith. Choosing a reality beyond reality. Don't think about what this means right now. Just be. The room turns green, then yellow, so bright. I close my eyes, but still I see the brilliant colors. The light is not outside of me, but within me. I have 2 more days here, and I'm not ready to leave yet. I feel like I'm just getting started. Gotta go deeper down this rabbit hole. Day 6, when you step into the battlefield, don't wish for easy. Pray for the devil to rise out of hell and give everything he has. Stand tall and say, I will not go down without a fight. Call forth the devil and drown him in his blood. Day 7. Enlightenment is not a destination because the only real destination is death. Enlightenment is a visceral knowing. And with that knowing comes application. From knowing to application to then teaching. Teach so that others may know for themselves, not for them to learn, but for them to seek their own knowing. We can only show the door, but each person must walk through it. On that path, in the doing, the knowing will happen. After 7 days, I stepped out of the darkness and returned to my life. I looked inside myself and found light in the dark. Isn't that the essence of Nirvana?
While in the darkness, the guilt once again rose to the surface. And I began to realize it wasn't just guilt about my buddy Neil's death and the fact that I survived the war. It was guilt for my entire life. Why do I get to be happy in this world when there are so many others out there suffering and in pain? Just by being born where I was born to great parents, I was automatically blessed with 1,000,000 times opportunities than most people in the world. Why do I get that when so many others live their entire life in hell? And a lot of that started to rise to the surface, and I was able to process it, to face it, to deal with it, to be with it. And I remember coming out of that darkness after 7 days and looking out into the light. The first time I saw the light and I took off that mask after being brought out of the darkness, I got to sit out on the deck looking out into the Black Forest in Germany. And when I took off my mask, the way the world looked in those few moments, I've never seen the light look that way. And I started to have a deep sense of gratitude for all the pain and suffering I'd ever experienced in my life, because I realized in a very visceral way, you cannot truly know the light unless you have first been in the dark. With these insights, I wanted to go deeper into the human experience than I've ever gone before. So I decided to go to Liberia, a country that had battled a brutal civil war, intense poverty, and the Ebola virus. I wanted to experience the intensity of humanity and go out there to bring some light into that darkness.
In 2018, I connected with an organization called Awakening Giants, which was producing a docuseries featuring entrepreneurs stretching the boundaries of their own potential to increase their impact in the world. This brought me to Liberia, a country which had experienced many years of civil war and had been ravaged by the Ebola epidemic. I chose to run across the country from the Guinea-Liberia border to Monrovia, the capital city. The goal was to raise money to renovate and make a sustainable school for kids from kindergarten age to high school. I would run just under a marathon a day for 7 days, a total of 167 miles. The director of the docuseries introduced me to an extraordinary man named Joshua who ran the school. I visited the compound outside of Monrovia. It's a mostly desolate 10-acre site with a few structures on it, a schoolhouse and some rudimentary dormitories. The kids range from 6 to 16. Most look like they hadn't eaten a decent meal for days.
Where you see a weed-strewn field, I see a vocational school yet to be built, and a primary school over there, and a secondary school over there.
That's the school's director, Joshua. He has big dreams for this place and the impact this school can make on countless boys and girls. Dreams cost money. The school has received funding from NGOs and charitable organizations in the US and Europe. We want to expand this school in a way that's environmentally sustainable and will live on to serve the next generation of children. First, I want to know, Joshua, what drives you to do this work?
I wish to leave a legacy when I'm gone. I wish to be of service.
Joshua's journey did not begin with this realization. Like me, he had to come to this point. And just as it was for me, it began with climbing out from the bottom of a bottle. But the circumstances we came from are very different. I'm well aware that I came from a very privileged position and had more options. Joshua came from a very different situation.
I graduated from the University of Liberia in 1999. At that time, my country was in the middle of its second bloody civil war in a decade. I migrated to Ghana with thousands of my countrymen who had fled there from the war. A year later, the UNHCR, the United Nations High Commission for Refugees, the major funder of the refugee camps, pulled out. They said Charles Taylor, that's the Liberian dictator who got ousted, was no longer in power. Therefore, they wanted all of the Liberian refugees to return home. But despite Taylor's removal, the war continued to rage. Without the UN support, conditions became terrible. I applied to resettle in America, but despite 2 interviews, I was refused. I had no job, no prospects whatsoever. I started drinking heavily, hoping to find some kind of path forwards. A friend saw the state I was in and he asked me, "What is the essence of going to a university? In other words, you have this education, but what are you going to do with it?" He put me in touch with a nun, Sister Mary, who was working with women, many of them widowed because of the war, to teach them to read. Then we started working with children on the street and created a makeshift library in one of their camps and taught them how to read and write. The war ended in 2003 and I moved back to Liberia. The country was in shambles and many had died. All I could do was continue my work. When we got the grant for this 10-acre parcel of land, there was almost nothing on it. All these structures you see, we built with our own hands. And now, we serve dozens and dozens of children, giving them the tools they need.
What do you think would have happened to you if you hadn't found this work, this way of life?
I never would have made it back from Ghana.
You'd still be there today.
No. I'd be dead by now. I was lost in the dark. But by God's grace, my friend connected me with Sister Mary, and she helped me find the light. Now that's what I do every day. Be the light for these children.
Joshua's words deeply resonated with me. Because when I was in the darkness and struggling with that guilt about my place on this planet and why I get the things I get, I realized that I will never have answers to all those questions, but what I can do is at least make this life worthy by using it to be of service to others, by transcending myself for someone else and for something else. And it reminded me of the words of the 20th century philosopher and Holocaust survivor, Viktor Frankl, whose book, Man's Search for Meaning, brought me a great deal of peace when I was at war. And he says, "The true meaning of life is to be discovered in the world rather than within man or his own psyche. I have termed this constitutive characteristic the self-transcendence of human existence. The more one forgets himself by giving himself to a cause to serve or another person to love, the more human he is and the more he actualizes himself. Self-actualization is possible only as a side effect of self-transcendence."
It's the first day of my run across Liberia. 6 days and 6 marathons left. I'm being filmed by a cameraman sitting in the back of a pickup truck and a small support crew inside, rolling along just ahead of me. I was far outside the capital of Monrovia going through a dusty little village. Then all of a sudden a young man starts jogging beside me.
Hello!
Hey there!
Why don't you get in the truck? Are they mad at you?
No. At least I don't think so.
I do not understand.
I'm running across the country
Well, why would you do such a thing?
to raise money.
By running? I must be doing it wrong.
I'm Akshay.
Blessing.
What a great name. Are you from this village?
Monrovia. But I've moved out recently.
Why?
Trouble with a gang.
I hope it's better now.
As long as I stay out of the city.
What do you do?
People don't want to hire me.
Why not? He didn't answer me.
I want to go to medical school.
The harsh reality is, the odds of that happening are damn near zero. It's hard for me to reconcile my privilege, the million options I've had, medical school being one of them, with this young man. How few options he has, because of where he happened to be born. Blessing kept pace with me and kept talking. He had been a child during the last Civil War.
My mother was killed, and my father left. I was on the street until someone put a gun in my hand and put food on my plate.
He's talking about the National Patriotic Front of Liberia, the army of Charles Taylor, the warlord who ruled Liberia after the First Civil War. Taylor ruled for 2 years until another civil war broke out to depose him 2 years later. Among the many war crimes he committed was recruitment of child soldiers. Thousands of kids, like Blessing used to be, were drawn into a life of violence.
I was 8. I was nothing.
Of course you were. You just didn't know it.
I still don't.
I point to the crudely drawn tattoo on his hand. What's that?
A spider.
You like spiders?
I hate them.
Then why put one on yourself?
It is a wicked creature, like me.
The NPFL committed countless atrocities during the war, many of them performed by children like Blessing. Murder, mutilation, hacking off limbs, even human sacrifice and cannibalism. Children forced to watch the torture, rape, and murder of their parents and siblings. Showing any emotion was punished with beatings or blindings. Blessing was one of them. He didn't tell me what he did during the war, and I didn't ask. I finished my run for the day, and Blessing kept up the whole way. We sat under a wooden shade by the beach and talked about his life after the war.
When Taylor was defeated, we were defeated. I had nowhere to go, no money. So, I joined a gang.
He looked at his spider tattoo. I wondered what wicked things he was thinking about now, what he might have done since the war. You mentioned earlier that you had some trouble with a gang.
That is why I'm out here in our country with my auntie.
Do you think you can start a new life out here? He looked at me, eyes filled with pain.
I hope so. The past is dangerous.
Blessing's powerful words reminded me of my own past and how I now wanted to do something meaningful and valuable with my present and my future. As a result of my run across Liberia, we were able to raise thousands of dollars for Joshua's school to help him build the school out there and get the materials he needed. And while we were out there, I also learned that one of Joshua's children, his 5-year-old son, had a hole in his heart, and he was unable to get it treated in Liberia. Not only did they not have the facilities, but he didn't have the financial resources to do so. So through the Firvana Foundation and my family's support, we brought Joshua, his wife, and his 5-year-old son to India to fix his heart. He stayed with us for 1 month, and the surgery he had saved his life. He's now back in Liberia, playing soccer, he's happy, and it was such a moving and beautiful experience to go through that whole journey with him. Just the odds of some clown deciding to go run 167 miles across Liberia and then meeting somebody out there whose son has a hole in his heart that we could get treated in India. There's 1,000,000 to 1 shot that something like that would happen. And seeing how the stars aligned to create this experience, it reinforced so much of what was left within me through the darkness of a new understanding of the mysticism of the human experience. Because before the darkness, I was always so practical, so pragmatic. Everything had to be defended with science and understood. Even if not to anybody else, I had to explain it to myself. But the darkness opened up a new door within me where I began to embrace the mysticism of the human condition, the magic of it. There's so many answers to life's questions that I will never know. And I no longer seek to know. I just embrace what is and find the beauty in it. And that experience with Joshua validated everything that I had gained from the darkness. That was such a beautiful thing to be a part of. To me, it was a symbol of how we are one human family. And when we come together as one, we become a sum that is greater than each individual part. And together, we can do magnificent things. Not long after returning back to the States, I was getting ready to move out of my house in New Jersey. After the divorce, I wanted a fresh start because my wife Maya was everywhere in that house. Her remnants were throughout that house. She created every aspect of it, so I wanted to begin a new journey in a new place. Fortunately, I sold the house and I felt free as I headed off to train for my next adventure, Denali, the highest mountain in North America with a summit elevation of 20,310 feet. This trip would be the first time since Greenland that I was able to go on an expedition longer than a week. I finally got into the financial position to afford these multi-week expeditions like Denali. Now, before taking something like that on, you have to train very intensively. I spent the winter up in Vermont, hiking with an extremely heavy pack, cross-country skiing with a sled, and did a lot of cold water dips in a frozen river. I once even got hypothermia after an 8-minute dip in the middle of winter. That was fun. But I wanted to be prepared for Denali, so I had to do whatever it took to get there. Yet no matter how much you prepare, you can never be entirely ready for what awaits you out in the hostile, unforgiving lands of nature.
I'm at high camp, just over 17,000 feet above sea level, the final camp before the peak. Sounds like it's about to rip the tent to shreds, one of the harshest environments on Earth. Funny thing is, despite the storm outside, inside this tent, I'm finding an inner stillness. Ever since my divorce from Maya, it's environments like this, or mountain climbing in Norway, or running across Liberia, or the darkness where I find peace. Including our guide, 6 of us started the climb up Denali. Only 5 of us made it to high camp. The other climber wouldn't get out of his tent at Camp 3. Something in him broke along the way, and he seemed relieved when he was sent back down the mountain. A storm rolled in. The weather took a turn for the worse. After a night in our tent at high camp, just 3,000 feet from the peak of Denali, our guide determined it was too dangerous to attempt the summit. We headed down the mountain the next day. The mountain will still be there. I will see you again.
The big lesson for me from all these experiences, more than any other, was that I really began to know and own my bliss. Joseph Campbell once said, "Follow your bliss, and the universe will open doors for you where there were once only walls." This was the time where I began to fully own my bliss. Before this, I would have labeled myself an entrepreneur or author first, but after the darkness retreat, my run across Liberia, and my climb up Denali, I realized that I am an explorer first, author second. These trips gave me clarity. They helped me own that I am first and foremost a wanderer, an adventurer, and an explorer of the human soul. That is what gives me bliss, and that's how I would be able to make the most impact in the world. My experience in Liberia working with former child soldiers, young boys in the ghettos, helping to build a school, running across the country, helping the boy get heart surgery, all these experiences reinforce this path. I love exploring frontiers and dancing on the razor's edge. Pushing the limits in nature or in humanity allowed me to experience the human condition at its most extreme. This made me feel more alive than ever before. It was very alluring, even addictive. It was an experience of transcendence, an experience of God. After Denali, I was ready for my toughest expedition yet. 1 month trekking in Antarctica and climbing its tallest peak. Man versus nature is really man versus self. To love yourself, you must first know yourself. For me, this means going to the bottom of the earth and testing myself to my limits and beyond.
Fearvana is a production of Voyage Media. The series is produced by Nat Mundell, Asif Manvi, Robert Midas, Adam Prince, and Dan Benamor. Executive produced by Akshay Nanavati. Written and directed by Adam Prince, based on Akshay Nanavati's novel of the same name. The novel is available on Amazon. A link is in the show notes. Starring Asif Manvi as Akshay. Additional cast credits available in the show notes. Edited, sound designed, and mixed by Joel Lippman. Original music by Derlis Gonzalez. If you're enjoying the podcast, please leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or anywhere you're listening, and subscribe now for future episodes.